Hello, my name is Leo and welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading A Dance in Fire Chapter 1 by Worgen Jarth. One of the quote-unquote best books of the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, as decided by I forgot the guy's name on Polygon. If you go to the Polygon YouTube channel, where he discusses the 5 best books of Skyrim. And mainly he likes Worgen Jarth. And quite frankly, I've read this book already. It's pretty fucking good. Anyway, I'm also drunk. Which suits the... It really suits the story, because for most of the... He's not drunk most of the time, but most of the other people are drunk in the story. Anyway, scene! The Imperial City. Cyrodiil. Date. Server the Phosphol. 3rd Era. 397. It seemed as if the place had always housed the Atreus Building Commission, the company of clerks and state agents who authorized and notarized nearly every construction of every note in the Empire. It had stood for 250 years since the reign of the Emperor Magnus, a plain-fronted and austere hall, and a minor but respectable plaza in the Imperial City. Energetic and ambitious middle-class lads and ladies worked there, as well as complacent middle-aged ones like... I should decide on the pronunciation of this guy's name. Demucus Scotti. No one could imagine a world without the Commission, least of all Scotti. To be accurate, he could not imagine a world without himself in the Commission. Lord Atreus is perfectly aware of your contributions, said the managing clerk, closing the shutter that... What the fuck is that word? Demarcated? Yes. That demarcated Scotty's office behind him. But you know things have been difficult. Yes, said Scotty stiffly. Lord Vangett's men have been giving us a lot of competition lately, and we must be more efficient if we are to survive. Unfortunately, that means releasing some of our historically best but presently over-achieving senior clerks. I understand. It cannot be helped. I'm glad you understand, smiled the managing clerk, smiling thinly and withdrawing. Please have your room cleared immediately. What a dick. I'm getting fired? Well, Scotty's getting fired. Scotty began the task of organizing all of his work to pass on to his successor. It would probably be young Imberalis who would take most of it on, which, as it should be, he considered philosophically. I've been drinking Roman Coke, FYI. The lad knew how to find business. Scotty wondered idly what the fellow would do with the contracts for the new statue of Saint Alyssa, for which the Temple of the One had applied. Probably invent a clerical error, blame it on his old predecessor, Demucus Scotti, and acquire a new cost to rectify. Who am I talking to? The next person who's talking is the clerk, I think. Or rather the... Yeah, the managing clerk, yeah. As managed for Demucus Scotti of the Atreus Building Commission. Scotti looked up. A fat-faced courier had entered his office and was thrusting forth a sealed scroll. He handed the boy a gold piece and opened it up. 1 gold piece. What a fucking... Anyway. By the poor penmanship atrocious spelling and grammar, an overall unprofessional tone, it was manifestly evident who the writer was. Leonis Juris, a fellow clerk of some years before, who had left the commission after being accused of unethical business practices. Time for a drink. Dear Scotty, I imagine you always wondered what happened to me, and the last place you would have expected to find me is out in the woods. But that's exactly where I am, haha. If you are smart and want to make a lot of extra gold, your lord for Lord Atreus and yourself, haha, you'll come to Valenwood too. If you haven't or have been following the politics here lately, you may or may not you can do it. You may or may not know that there's been a war between the Boschmere and their neighbours elsewhere over the past 2 years. Things have only just calmed down, and there's a lot that needs to be rebuilt. Now I've got more business than I can handle, but I need someone with some clout, someone representing a respected agency, to get the quill in the ink. That someone is you, my friend. Come and meet me. Classic. Meet me at the Malfa Pascos Tavern in Vareski, Valenwood. I'll be here 2 weeks, and you won't be sorry. Julius, P.S. Bring a wagon load of timber if you can. Okay. So far, every time I confuse Vardenfell with Valenwood, it's because of this story. It's one of my favourite stories that I've read. I haven't read all the books of Skyrim, but I read from alphabetical order, and this is obviously one of the first books that I ever read because it's Dance of Fire. So I really did like the story, and the sequel, which is the same guy, Demetrius Scotti, going to God damn it, Argonia Land, Black Marsh. Thank you. Although I kind of prefer this story, quite frankly. What do you have there, Scotty? Asked a voice. Scotty started. It was Imbranius, his damnably handsome face peeking through the shadows, smiling in that way that melted the hearts of the stingiest of patrons and the roughest of stonemasons. Scotty shoved the letter into his jacket pocket. Personal correspondence, he sniffed. I'll be cleared up here in just a moment. I don't want to hurry you, said Ambrose, grabbing a few sheets of blank contracts from Scotty's desk. I've just gone through a stack, and the junior scribe's hands are all cramping up, so I thought you wouldn't miss a few. The lad vanished. Scotty retrieved the letter and read it again. He thought about his life, something he rarely did. It seemed a sea of grey with a black, insurmountable wall looming. There was only one narrow passage he could see in that wall. Quickly, he had a moment to reconsider it. He grabbed a dozen of the blank contracts with the shimmering gold leaf, a truest building commission by appointment of his Imperial Majesty, and hid it in the satchel with his special effects. The next day he began his adventure. With a giddy lack of hesitation, he arranged for his seat in a caravan bound for Valenwood. The single escorted conveyance to the southeast, leaving the Imperial City that week. He had scarcely hours to pack, but he remembered to purchase a wagon load of timber, because that is what the letter said. It'll be extra gold to pay for a horse to pull that, frowned the convoy head. So I anticipated, smiled Scotty, with his best embroider's grin. 10 wagons in all set off that afternoon through the familiar Cyrodiila countryside, which isn't familiar to me because I did play Oblivion, but only a little bit. Past fields of wildflowers, gently rolling woodlands, friendly hamlets, the clop of the horses' hooves against the sound stone road reminded Scotty that the Atreus building commission constructed it. 5 of the 18 necessary contracts for its completion were drafted by his own hand. Oh, good for you, buddy. Very smart of you to bring that wood along, said a grey-whiskered Breton man next to him in his wagon. You must be in commerce. Of the sort, said Scotty, in a way he hoped was mysterious before introducing himself. Demicus Scotty. Gruff Madden, said the man. I'm a poet, actually a translator of old Bosmer literature. I was researching some newly discovered tracks of the Morrowind play bar 2 years ago. When the war broke out and I had to leave. You are no doubt familiar with the Morrowind if you're unaware of the Green Pact. If you're aware of the Green Pact. Scotty thought the man might be speaking perfect gibberish, but he nodded his head. Naturally. I don't pretend that the Morrowind is as renowned as the meh Audion, or as ancient as the Dancer Good, but I think it has a remarkable significance to understanding the nature of the Merithic Bosmer mind. The origin of the wood elf aversion to cutting their own wood or eating any plant material at all, yet paradoxically their willingness to import plant stuff from other cultures. I feel can be linked to a passage of the Morrowind. Marion shuffled through some of his papers, searching for the appropriate text. To Scotty's vast relief, the carriage soon stopped to camp for the night. They were high on a bluff over a grey stream, and before them was the grey valley of Valenwood. Only the cry of seabirds declared the presence of the ocean to the bay to the west. Here the timber was so tall and wide, twisting through itself like an impossible knot, began eons ago to be impenetrable. A few more modest trees, only 50 feet to the lowest branches, stood on the cliff at the edge of camp. The sight was so alien to Scotty, and he found himself so anxious about the proposition of entering the wilderness that he could not imagine sleeping. Fortunately, Malin had supposed he had found another academic with a passion for the riddles of ancient cultures. Long into the night he recited Bosmer verse in the original and his own translation, sobbing and bellowing and whispering, whenever appropriate. Gradually Scotty began to feel drowsy, but a sudden crack of wood, snapping, made him sit straight up. Drink. What was that? Anne smiled. I like it too. Convocation in the malignity of the moonless what is that word? Speculum? A dance of fire? There were some enormous birds up in the trees moving around, whispered Scotty, pointing in the direction of the dark shapes above. I wouldn't worry about that, said Malin, irritated with his audience. Now listen to how the poet characterizes how memorials of our creation over the ages stats of the 4 book. Good times. The dark shapes of the trees were some of them. Wait, sorry, let me start again. The dark shapes in the trees were some of them perched like birds, others slithered like snakes, and still others stood up straight like men. As Malin recited his verse, Scotty watched the figures softly leap from branch to branch, half gliding across impossible distances for anything without wings. They gathered in groups and then reorganized until they had spread to every tree around the camp, rather. From the heights. "Ma!" cried Scotty. "They're falling like rain!" "Probably seed pods," Malin shrugged, not turning around. "Some of the trees are remarkable." The camp erupted into chaos. Fires burst out in the wagons. The horses wailed for mortal blows. Casks of wine, fresh water, and liquor. Oh, man. Liquor, really? Gushed their contents onto the ground. What a fucking waste. A nimble shadow dashed past Scotty, and Malin gathered sacks of grain and gold with impossible agility and grace. Scotty had only one glance at it, lit up by a sudden nearly burst of flame. It was a sleek creature with pointed ears, wide yellow eyes, mottled pied fur, and a tail like a whip. "Werewolf," he whispered. Whispered Genector. Sorry, let me try that again. "Werewolf," he whimpered, shrieking back. "Cathay Rant," groaned Malin. "Much worse. Khajiit cousins or some such thing come to plunder." "Are you sure?" As quickly as they struck, the creatures retreated, driving off the bluff before the battle mage and knight, the caravan's escorts, had fully opened their eyes. "You useless fucking pricks." Malin and Scotty ran to the precipice and saw 100 feet below the tiny figures dash out of the water, shake themselves, and disappear into the wood. "Werewolves aren't acrobats like that," said Malin. "They were definitely Cathay Rant. Bastard thieves. Thanks, Stendhal, they didn't realize the value of my notebooks. It wasn't a complete loss." Alright. So that was A Dance in Fire, Chapter 1 by Wagon Jarth. We'll read some more in the future. But for now, I'd like to leave you with a little bit of lore, in case you didn't know. Cathay Rant is a species of Khajiit. As far as I know, I haven't really researched a lot about it, but as far as I know about the Khajiit is what they are born as depends on the moon at the time. Now, there are 2 moons, if I remember correctly, in Nern/Tamriel. And a Cathay Rant is... What's a Cathay Rant again? I don't remember. But, like, Khajiit can either be like the humanoid type Khajiit that you see in, say, Skyrim, or I believe the version of Khajiit in Oblivion is different. What do Khajiit look like in Mournhold? I don't know if they're the same as Skyrim Khajiit, but whatever. But there is another kind of Khajiit that is basically a lion slash cat slash leopard or whatever. You know, like a wild cat. Yeah, probably should have started with that. That has pretty much basically no relevance to a human. But I think they can communicate in the common tongue. I'm not sure about that. Maybe that's what a Cathay Rant is. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. Maybe I'll look it up and tell you in the next episode, in the next reading of chapter 2. But there are 7 chapters. 7 chapters? Yes, there are 7 chapters in A Dance in Fire. And what was the other game? What was the other book called? Do you have the other book? Serious? Um, um, I don't know. Oh, okay. I really don't know. Is it in this game? Might not be in this game. It must be somewhat... What? Sorry, it must be somewhat near the beginning of the alphabet, because I know I've read it. And, quite frankly, I might have read it because it was the sequel. I might have skipped to that, but I was reading all the books of Skyrim in alphabetical order. Actually, I was reading all the books of the Elder Scrolls, actually, in alphabetical order. It might not be in this game. Really? Apparently, Faith Falcon is a good book. I don't have the full series yet. I think Faith Falcon is also written by Jagath. Yeah, Wagan Jath. It is actually. Yes, you're right. So this is called A Dance of Fire, correct? Yes. What was the other book called? I don't remember. Shit. Ah, fuck. Alright, hang on. Let me look it up. I need to know. It's important. Is it that important? It's not that important. No, it's just look it up. Oh, fuck, what was it called? Hang on a second. Want to look up the books. Back. And my phone is not responding. It's always my favourite thing in the whole wide world. Alright, should I just go to lore? Yeah, just go to lore. Oh my god, it's so slow. Alright, books. Appendices? No. Shit. Books aren't in lore. Really? Huh. Could have fooled me. Alright, go to Morrowind. Shit. Keep drinking. I am. I don't think I'm going to be able to... Will I try that again? I will. Yes. Hang on a second. I don't think I'm going to... God damn it. I'm having a really hard time. I don't think I'm going to be able to record Chapter 2 of A Dance of Fire today. But I have no idea when I'm going to release these videos, so it doesn't really matter. Books. Because I'm quite wasted. And it's pretty late. It is. Huh? Wait, what? What's the problem? I don't think it counts. I don't think the wiki is counting R as the first letter. You need to look up D for dance. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It is. Can you just look up Wagon Jaff? Thank you. That would actually be a lot faster. Okay, no, it's not. Never mind. Carry on. No, go back. Let it actually load the website. Because I think it auto jumps to Wagon Jaff. Doesn't. The Argonian account is the other name. So in here it'll be under the. I don't think it's in this book. I don't think it's in this game. Seriously, that sucks. I kind of don't want to do the reading then. If it's not going to be in the same game. Are you sure it's in? Oh, it gets added in Oblivion. That sucks. That sucks. I mean, you can read it on your own, but... Well, whatever. I guess we're going to read Dance and Fire anyway. Alright, well, for now, my name is Leo, and I'll see you next time.